Next, we're going to bring up an actual politician. We're going to bring up Councilman Carlos Menchaca from District 38. I'm digging his shirt. So maybe you can tell us how we actually get that done in writing. Okay, right.
Give it up for JFK. Buenas tardes, I'm Carlos Menchaca, City Council member representing Sunset Park and Red Hook in Brooklyn. Is it Brooklyn in the house? Anyone? Okay, we got some Brooklyn love. We do travel out of Brooklyn, and I'm part of that diaspora. I wanted to start by just sharing with you how much I connect to the work of the Universal Basic Income movement. I grew up in public housing in El Paso, Texas, in a border town, and there my family had food stamps, and we had government health care, and we had so much support that we were able to be stable. Those things are no longer in full breadth for so many families, and you've already heard Juhl and Ching talk about how hard it is to raise a family in this city. Fast forward, became the first person in my family to go to college and learn about how I could actually take this activism and my experiences and move with people. And the immigrant community has been something, as a Mexican American, something that I wanted to do a lot of work around. In the city council, when I became the first Mexican American elected in the city council's history, I learned how important it was to connect to that voice that had no voice in the city council. Immigrants in this city have lacked that ability to change policy. And the one thing they keep coming back to is how can they control more of the policy to bring resources back to them. This became very clear during COVID when many of the impacted communities, the COVID impacted communities, were people of color. And so many of us in the communities that rose up and said something were being left out of conversations about the responses. Over 60% of the essential workers that were risking their lives every single day in the city of New York were immigrants. Over half of the small businesses were run by immigrants. The reason I talk about immigrants in this city is because when I think about universal basic income, we have to think about how we have to get it ready so that when we get those dollars, when we get Congress and we get the state and we get cities to say yes to UBI, that we don't leave the immigrant community behind. So I want to share with you, how are we leaving them behind? There are so many laws that whatever side of politics came, doesn't matter, but the political machine has removed the ability for cities and states to give money directly to people who are undocumented. And it makes it very difficult for us to get money out. It's actually illegal. We have to get the state to approve our ability as a city to give money to someone who does not have documents. These are the kind of things that we need to shift and change while we're fighting for UBI. So this is my ask of you today, is to think about the immigrant community, because the immigrant community is so central in the economy. So when we say we are the economy, who's the we? We are the we, but it also includes immigrants that don't often speak English because there are no classes to help them, but they want to learn English, but the city is failing to find classes for everyone who wants to learn it. JFK asked me about this shirt. You may have heard, we just passed some incredible legislation supporting the deliveristas. Over 65,000 people in this city, immigrants, undocumented, most of them, are delivering food, essential workers. And they were being treated like animals by restaurants, by the apps, DoorDash, etc. And we were able to pass legislation to give them access to bathrooms, because how undignified is that to say no to someone who's delivering your food to get access to the bathroom? We've solved that. The second thing is that some of them were being charged to get their paycheck. There was a fee attached to could you imagine having to pay to get your paycheck? And some of them weren't getting it for months. We changed that. We're also looking at a minimum wage, and we also are trying to think through how to create infrastructure so that we can have safe corridors for delivery. All of this is part of a community that UBI needs to think about, and I'm just asking you to keep them in mind, and I will be with you as we move this, because this bill and this conversation in New York City is going to move nationally, and we're going to be there, and it's going to be because of what we're doing here today, and in all the cities that we're going to actually make something happen. So thank you so much. My name is Carlos Menchaca, City Council member. I'm with you, politician, activist, UBI supporter. Thank you very much.